Hi, I'm Konrad,
Hi, I'm Benna.
and we are the Chan fam.
Yes, we're a family of 5 living in Hong Kong.
And this is our podcast, where we
Yay.
talk about frugal living, homeschooling, freelancing. What other things do we talk about?
And DIY projects.
That's right, and everything in between.
Yes.
For this episode, which is episode number 4,
Yes.
we're going to be talking about making the most of a small living space, especially here in Hong Kong. So let's get to it.
So, this is Hong Kong,
Yep,
and Hong Kong is very crowded. A very crowded city.
this is true.
And in order to accommodate so many people, do you know the exact number on top of your head?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Millions.
There's lots of people. So there are lots of high rises and apartments, and we live in one of these tiny apartments. And our place currently is about 540 square feet, 540 something square.
Sure.
feet. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we live in a flat 8th floor. It's got a communal room, 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a kitchen. Kitchen's very small, by the way. It's actually originally 3-bedroom
Yeah.
flat, but they knocked out one of the walls and
combined
combined
rooms,
2 rooms.
which is perfect for us.
Yeah, which in like by Canadian standards is like a very tiny room.
Yes.
So I can't imagine what that divided into would have been like to live in. So it's tiny. But yeah, so it's a pretty small space.
Yeah, for our family of 5. But we find it comfortable. I guess the whole point of this episode is talking about how to make the best use of your small space.
Yeah, and I find it quite interesting how we live in such a tiny place with 5 human beings
Yeah.
and still be very functional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can still get lots of things done and we set up different corners for everyone, actually. Everyone has their own corner kind of thing.
We didn't always live in this flat. We've lived in 3 different flats in Hong Kong.
Yes. This is our 3rd one.
Yeah, the first one that we lived in was 500 square
Even
feet.
smaller than this.
Okay, even smaller than that. And that was...
And that was when I first entered that flat. I remember very distinctly that I walked in and I'm like, this is it? Like, you just take a look around and that's all that it is,
Yeah,
you know?
you step into the door and that's the tour.
And from the door to the quote unquote master bedroom, it was 10 steps. I remember so distinctly, like it was tiny.
Yeah. So, and then we were living there, just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us.
Yeah. And then we had a kid.
Yeah.
Then we were asked to move out, which was fine. We didn't know at that time. We were like, oh no, we really like that place. But we were asked to move out to a bigger place.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Hallelujah.
nice.
That was great.
From a tiny apartment to 3-bedroom, like even bigger than right now what we
So
have.
about 100 feet larger.
Even more, 200 feet larger than the first place.
Yeah, at that place. Then we had our second child. So it seems to like grow kind of in proportion to our family and our, yeah. So, but...
Yeah, then we were asked to move again. And then we found this place smaller, but newer, renovated internally. So it was nice.
Yeah. So we went back down again to about 540 and then we had a 3rd kid.
Yes.
So now...
Now the 3 of them sleep in the same bedroom.
That's right.
Yes.
And it's interesting. Because not only have we accumulated children, we have also accumulated
Things.
stuff.
Oh, man. If you were to ask us to move again now, headache. Lots of things.
Yeah.
But every time we move, we downsize.
Yeah. And I think every time we gain another member of our family,
We upsize.
we upsize, but then we also kind of become smarter, I think, with how we use our space. So I think we can talk about a few things that we've kind of learned along the way.
Yeah.
To make the most of a tiny Hong Kong flat. So I think the first one is like the biggest.
Yes. Downsizing.
Downsizing.
Yeah, downsizing is one of those things. I think for sure, every time you move, you really have to, you just are forced to take a look at the things you have and say, do I really need this? Yeah, because moving is such a hassle. You have so many things. So, for me personally, the year, when Netflix was had that show, Marie Kondo show, and I watched it, a few episodes.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Hoarders.
Oh, Hoarders? No. I think the Marie Kondo one with does this item spark joy? you know? And that year, my cousin was here in Hong Kong visiting, so she helped me a lot to downsize quite a lot that year. So just before this apartment, yeah. And then you just have to really go through each item and see, do I really need this? And you don't hoard things that you might use in the future. You know what I mean? You put it aside and say, oh, maybe I'll use this later, but you never use it. You know, because it's been years. It's still sitting there.
Yeah. And I think it's good that also both of us, like, we're not living in our country of origin. Like,
True.
So in many ways, we've kind of been able to let go of a lot of, like, sentimental objects.
Yeah.
So I think,
and we're not living in a permanent home. This is everywhere we've been is just rental.
Yeah, that's right.
So that helps.
But I think that initial kind of step to be able to say goodbye to sentimental things, I think, is a huge step for us, because that makes it much easier every time we have to let go of things or downsize. That it's like, it's okay. It's just things. It's just material things.
I think now, yes, it's true, that statement. Like, now as our children are making artwork, you also need to decide, okay, am I keeping this artwork? Am I, just taking a picture and throwing it? Because there's so many things with children. They keep making things, creating. And especially they love creating with recyclable materials. So it's like a 3D object, not even a painting, 2D flat painting where you can stuff somewhere. 3D objects, there's no way. You just have to let them make it, take a picture, and then chuck it down like in a couple of weeks. One thing though, because our family's growing and we don't live in a permanent home, so for sure at the back of our mind is always like, we can't really keep things for long. So clothes, like my baby is outgrowing his before 9 months clothes, or just give away. Toys, they've outgrow it, just pass it on. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, I guess the thing is, when you're living in a small space and you have lots of things, it forces you to decide what is priority in your life.
Yeah,
the quality of your daily living, in that you have room to live.
Yeah, it's true.
And just like a setting that's just calming and not cluttering.
Yeah.
Or those things that you can't get rid of. Yeah. So I think that's been a benefit, actually, of living.
It is.
In this small place in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's downsizing. So another thing that we've learned is being smarter with our furniture.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So this is very exciting for me to brag about, because when we first came into this apartment, there were already furniture here, and there were a couple of big wardrobes, and one of them, when I saw it, it was in the master bedroom, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is perfect to put all our big outdoorsy things in. And we kept it, and now it's like a little room in itself, like, where we put our swim stuff, beach stuff, bikes, our heaters, everything can put in there. And and store most of our the things that you don't use often but are big, but you need them. So just want to brag about that.
Very good. I think one big thing is not just the stuff, but the visual clutter. So for us, we won't pretend to be minimalists. We like stuff.
We do.
But it helps to have a closet where we can.
Oh, and camping stuff is also in and on it, that wardrobe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the wardrobe has like opening and closing doors. So that way we're able to store things, but still have a space that's visually pleasing.
Yes. Yes.
I think part of the difficulty of this whole thing is that, like, I think money can be a difficulty. At least for us, like these wardrobes were here for us. We didn't have to spend money for them, so that was a benefit for us.
Oh, you mean if other people were to potentially get a storage, they would have to spend money on it?
Yeah.
Oh,
so I think money is a big obstacle.
Clean up their space to make it less cluttered looking.
Yeah. So I think money is a big obstacle for optimizing the space in a homeroom flat. But we have found ways to get around that.
Yes, we have definitely, by going to the dumpster and looking for furniture, thrown out the furniture and bring them back.
No, this could be a whole episode on itself.
Yes.
Dumpster diving.
Yes.
But no, because this is something I feel unique to Hong Kong. Though I'm sure there's lots of furniture that's like just tossed out that's completely fine in like Canada or the States or wherever. But in Hong Kong, especially like where we live in the estate, like a complex of like 17 towers. How many towers?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. So
14. Yeah.
14. So we all share this very small space within this kind of fenced-in community, and every tower has like what?
Every tower has 35 floors.
35
and
floors.
Each floor has 8 apartment units.
So that's a heck of a lot of families.
Yes.
But anyway, whenever someone leaves or decides whatever, like they're going to leave and don't want to bother with the furniture,
3,920 families or units
in
just
one
our
estate.
In our estate.
Good grief. Anyway. Yeah, so any furniture would just end up actually just downstairs from our tower at the garbage disposal. And it's always just completely fine, it's completely undamaged furniture. So we often just go down there and like, oh, there's a table. We need a table, and we get the table. But I think for us, what I usually do is I go there and I look for good pieces of wood because I have my toolkit.
Yes.
That I'm able to then modify the furniture that we do have or make new furniture that fits specifically our needs.
So guess where his toolkits are. He has electric saw, electric sander, and all these kind of hammers, screws, nuts and bolts, and a lot of things. And in our tiny apartment, I mean, you need a garage for this kind of stuff, right? But in our apartment, they are stored in the kitchen on top of our fridge, which we went out and bought like a shelving unit. Yeah, that you can adjust the heights and stuff.
Yeah, like a wire frame.
So then we just measure the space up there because there's like a huge space like not used. So we measured and then we bought this shelving unit, and now all the tools are up there.
Yeah, you get really creative when
you just think
limited space.
You just think higher up. What space is on the wall?
This is the same concept of building houses higher up.
Yes.
Everything is just higher up.
Yeah, you just...
There's so much unused ceiling space for it.
It's true. Yeah.
So much possibilities.
Yeah.
For what? I don't know.
But yeah, that's our... So the other thing is because I think we prioritize what we want in our small space, and we want floor space. Hence, we have no couch and no TV. That's one of the things that we can do without.
When we got rid of the couch, that was one of the scariest decisions.
Really?
I challenge you, if you have lots of children, or just, to have that floor space.
Oh,
just
so nice.
Go to your living room right now. Look at your living room and imagine it without a couch.
Yeah.
And see how much space there is there. Actually, the change it makes to your everyday life is so positive, actually.
Yeah. I really like this open. Well, it's tiny, but at least there's nothing on the floor. Like nothing standing in the middle of the space.
Yeah. Not only does it just make the whole, like a tiny flat bigger, it also changes the culture of your family.
True.
So you're no longer just, I need to rest, and then you sit down on the couch and you watch TV, and your whole family is like just like staring blank at a screen.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who says that a living room has to have a couch and TV?
Right?
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I was just listening to a podcast called Minimal-ish, which was really cool because they were talking about oh shoot, now I forget what they were talking about.
It's okay, we can cut this part.
Come on. They were talking about how it's actually beneficial to live in a small space because the family unit is forced to be close together. You can't hide away. So what can often happen in a large house, especially in like Canada or the States, is that you're all living in the same house and you don't see each other very often because the space is just so big. The benefit of living in a small space is that you're close together.
Yeah. You're forced to interact.
Yeah, that's right. And so also when you take away the element of the TV and a couch, I think it just really, how do you say?
Increases, like, interaction?
Yes. Even more so.
Even more so between the family members.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
So I feel like those two things, living in a small space and not having a TV, has made our family culture very tight-knit and very relational. Yeah.
I think, unless you intentionally think about it and, think about what kind of the atmosphere you want in your family, in that space. Yeah. Otherwise, I think if we had, I think for us, if we had a big place, and I think we would also just do what everyone does. Put a couch and a TV in the living room just because it's so ingrained.
What we're told to do.
Yeah, I think so. I guess we're learning a lot from just having this space here, a small space here.
Yeah. We also don't have a microwave, which makes us an oddity.
Yeah, true. So the other stuff that we DIY'd beside the above the fridge is the bed on the ledge.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is a huge game changer. The thing with Hong Kong flats, if you're not from Hong Kong, is that every room has a window and then a pretty deep ledge. How deep is the ledge? It's maybe about 3 feet deep. Yeah, there's like a windowsill.
Yeah.
That's about 3 feet deep. So that's a lot of space right there. I think a lot of families put like shelves or storage
on it, yeah.
there, which also makes sense. But then you lose the
natural
daylight,
light,
which we don't want to do.
Yeah.
But what happened when we moved to this flat is that we went into the bedroom, one of the bedrooms, and there's already a bed frame.
Not frame, no frame, just a
platform.
Ledge. Platform with bookshelves underneath.
So we save a lot of floor space because of that setup.
And then we put a bed on it.
Yeah.
Actually, the width of that ledge was smaller than a single bed. But, you made something, DIY something, and so the frame now fits over on top of that narrow ledge.
So downsizing, I think when we kind of evaluate the things that we've accumulated and then go through places, because when you have like storage and then stuff that you don't access very often, it just kind of stays there, and then you realize, do I really need to use that space for things that we don't use? Yeah
True.
So I think evaluating your stuff
once in a while
and just getting rid of things that you don't need.
You really don't. And you just have to be honest with yourself. Like, I really haven't touched this for a year. Would I ever touch this?
Yeah.
Yeah, just be honest.
Does it spark joy? So, yeah, downsizing, being smarter with the furniture.
Yeah.
Again, also asking the same question, is having, this furniture more valuable than the space it would save if I didn't have it. And then being able to do some simple DIY, like adding in shelves as you need them, like for the wardrobe that we have, for example.
We actually, inside the big wardrobe, we actually added shelves for customized for the things we have.
Yeah. I think a lot of the material things come and go in our house.
Yeah.
And we have to adjust our storage accordingly.
Yeah.
It's really helpful to have some... helpful. It's really helpful to have some
It's true.
simple...
Because if you think about it, if you live in a house with a garage, what you would do is you would just pack it away and store it away, and those things never see daylight. But you're accumulating. But in our house, we don't have that garage space. We are constantly downsizing, constantly readjusting our storage space.
I think on that same note, like when you downsize, a fear is that what if I need that again, right? I think the way to answer that question is to actually be plugged into a community like we are.
True.
Like we have a mummies chat.
Yeah, where
it's the
we
mummies,
just...
the daddies don't do this.
So everything was passed around. After you use something, you just pass it on, like a baby chair. It takes up lots of space, but once my baby outgrows it, I'll pass it along. Yeah, so it's perfect.
Yeah, especially as a family with young children, where like clothes, like you have to change it every few months and all this stuff. There's always stuff that goes and stuff that comes. So being plugged into a community, I think, also helps in being able to let go of things.
Yeah.
Because then you'll have other people that are letting go of things that you need.
Yes.
So it's also just a good kind of way of not consuming as much.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sort of like what we've learned over the few years about making the most of our space. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube. Now we're on TikTok. It's a new thing.
Yes, and you can find our podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Just type in #TheChanFam. And we have a website too, thechanfam.co.
Yeah, so all of our social media is consolidated on there. Yeah, if you like this podcast, please follow us, leave a review. It really helps us be able to continue to make them. If you have any topics that you want us to talk about or a question for us, you can...
Yeah, just feel free to ask. We'll get back maybe on the next episode. No, we'll get back on the next... Oh, I don't know. Maybe?
Maybe. Ooh, suspense. That'll make you want to come back and see if we're going to do it. All right. Thank you for listening.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
See you.